Started here. We have Canada head coach DASANAYAKE. If you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. I just ask that you state your name and affiliation before asking the question.
Coach, massive disappointment and sometimes you feel for the spectators who were here for the match?
Yeah, I mean, we as like an associate country, upcoming country also, like, we were looking forward to play against India. But I think sometimes the nature we cannot stop. Last few days there was heavy rain and it's all about, like, I mean, the ground staff has done a great job to bring the facility into this level, but there are enough water around that can damage a player, injure the player. So especially India going into the next round and big games are ahead of them, I don't think anybody wants to risk that.
Coach, what's your overall assessment of how Canada performed in this World Cup, and what are the positives that you will take from this tournament to help the boys perform better in the future?
Yeah, like, I mean, being in the associate world for a longer period, the World Cups, when you selected into a World Cup, like, it's a big thing. Why? Because the preparation and the effort that it goes through to the team and planning, or like, it's going to help down the line the World Cricket League to 50-over cricket, T20 cricket coming up, and it's boosting the cricket fans back home, and youngsters are watching. That's where you get youngsters are joining to this game, especially in North America. It's not an easy thing to get these youngsters playing cricket. They have so many other options. But yeah, like, coming into World Cup is a real big thing for Canada, especially because I think the performance-wise, I, as a coach, I always want better, but I'm happy how all the games went through, and I think the fans are really also happy, like, they how the team fared this whole World Cup. I think, like, this last 2-3 weeks will boost cricket in Canada.
So you've played for the Canadian national team yourself as a player, and now you got to experience a World Cup as a coach. Can you talk about the progress that you've seen Cricket Canada make into, I don't want to date you, but in the almost 2 decades since you were a player and now a coach? You've got a great perspective on sort of the long journey of Cricket Canada.
Yeah, I mean, cricket, like, in Canada, always, like, is a very popular game. And, like, if you go to the history, in 1979, Canada played the first World Cup in 50 over, and then 2003, 2007, 2011 World Cups, and then from there we had a break until this World Cup. But cricket is growing there. I mean, even though we haven't really showed in the international arena in the last decade, like, performance-wise, but the number of players, number of, like, young cricketers joining into this game has really improved, and we have some great players coming through. And, like, I always say that, like, Canada can be one of the powerhouse in associate cricket and move forward from there. So it's really the game has grown really in Canada.
Coach, we saw some of the Indian players interact with yourself and the Canadian players. Can you tell us about the interactions and what it sort of meant for the Canadian players?
Yeah, like, I mean, our team, like, we have a lot of South Asian players playing in Canada, and they, we always, like, their childhood heroes are, like, these big names, and when you have to play against them is always really, like, a big thing for them. Like, we were pumped up to play the match, but but like even with for us to have a chat with them and talk about Libra cricket, their experience, and some of the players were talking about to improve their game. They're trying to get their insight. We had a good interaction so far, and I think for the whole team, I think it's a great feeling to be around this atmosphere plus these big names. I'm sure even though we didn't play today, we learn a lot by talking to them as well.
Coach, to not have a game today, was it totally the officials' call, or did the teams have a say or view on this, whether to play or not? Were they consulted?
No, I mean it's totally officials' call because I think both teams wants to play, and I think even the officials really wanted to play. They worked very hard to get the game going, but there are areas on the ground that is not improved, from yesterday itself. There's a few water paddles still there. So basically, the game is called off due to the nobody wants to get injured. Especially India team moving forward into a next stage. That's the only reason, and it was totally the officials' call.